Ladies and gentlemen, we are live from the Steel Twins recording studio in the cherry capital of the world, Traverse City, Michigan. Introducing your hosts, the Cannonball, the Cannon, the Steel Twins.
What's up, everybody? It's Sunday night, and you know what that means.
That's right. It is the epic, well, it's Sunday, but yes, it is the epic return of voice acting, and we are in season 14. Do you understand what we're talking about?
14.
14 seasons, baby.
Yep, and we'll have season 15 before the end of this project because we have 2 new games to try out for you, to present to you. These are the games from the Miles Edgeworth Investigations Collection.
That's right, the Ace Attorney Investigations Collection.
Sure. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, I think that's more appropriate. So, Miles Edgeworth is now the star. And it's going to be a little bit different from your typical Ace Attorney games. Yes, it's a graphic novel. Yes, it's a visual novel, but we're not in the courtroom. We're outside. We're at crime scenes and we're at investigations. We're at different locales, and we got to search every nook and cranny for clues and stuff. And we got to use good old-fashioned logic to get to the truth.
Yeah. So speaking of visual novels, should we finish this after we finish this Ace Attorney Investigations Collection, we may have to talk about our next voice acting project, and it may be yet another visual novel, and I think there may be and I hear there's another game similar to the Ace Attorney series, and it's on the PC, available on Steam, I believe.
How about we cross that bridge when we get to it?
Yeah, why not? Okay.
I am pretty sure that this is going to probably take at least 6 weeks, maybe.
Maybe another half a month.
Half a month? That's only 2 weeks. A month is typically 4 weeks.
Okay, 6 months then. Maybe a 6-month project, but who knows?
Who knows, kids? Who knows? All I know is that I'm very much looking forward to this project. It's a different spin on some familiar characters. And you will have some returning favorites in this series.
Yes, of course. Also, we've gotten our heads together, and we are trying to switch up our streaming schedule a bit.
Yet again.
Yeah, so basically, we're probably going to end up streaming on weekends because when we try streaming during the week, it
can be challenging. So, folks, all we got to say about that is there's more to come. Follow the Facebook page for important updates on this matter.
Absolutely, man. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, I think we've covered all of our bases. I think it's about time.
Yeah. Let's
get this going. So it's season 14, and it wouldn't be a voice acting project without this iconic phrase. If you have a pin on your can or a cap to your bottle, you go ahead and pull that pin back or twist that cap off
with that twisty twist.
Hey, package. Ooh, what time is it?
It's time to hydrate.
Cheers.
Okay.
How's my hair look?
Your hair looks pretty good. Okay.
I'm glad to hear that.
What are we waiting for? Live scene.
Yep,
all right, let's get a listen to this music real quick. Miles Edgeworth's dramatic turnabouts take center stage. Look at all those characters, by the way.
Yep, there's a whole lot going on here, and one of those characters looks awfully familiar.
Yeah.
Right above Edgeworth's head. You see that dude?
Oh, I know what that is.
He looks pretty scary. Yep, yes, folks. We will, at some point in this project, be confronting Manfred von Karma.
Yeah. Remember that bastard? Oh. Shout out to, call back to, Turnabout Goodbyes.
Yep, and the DL6 incident.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, we're going to get into that, too.
Yes.
The events leading up to DL6, but that's quite a ways down the road. We've got to really put this stuff together. So, yep,
autosave feature. Check for add-ons.
Keep saying PlayStation 4. Anyway.
All right, then. We're going to go to title selection. We're going to get a new game, Investigations. Why don't we just use the HD characters?
Absolutely. I mean, that's...
All right, we're going to get this thing started with Turnabout Visitor.
Lock 'em and load 'em, ladies. It's go time.
You bet your ass.
I like the fact that there's a chest piece there.
Yeah, nice. Makes you want to use your. Okay, episode 1. Turnabout Visitor. March 14th, 1:16 a.m. Location unknown.
To make sure the defendant is found guilty, what other choice do I have? That's the job of a prosecutor, after all.
That may be true, but why? Why go this far?
Sorry, maybe I wasn't clear enough, but a guilty verdict is all that matters to me. No matter what the cost. Oh.
Oh boy.
Yikes. I'm a prodigy among prosecutors. Always have been, always will be.
Yikes, bro. March 14th, 2:05 a.m. Prosecutor's building, 12th floor, hallway.
2 in the morning, Jesus.
It's hard to believe that I've been away from my office for a whole month. I hope Detective Gumshoe has been keeping an eye on my office and keeping it clean. The door is unlocked. Detective Gumshoe. What's the smell? It's very familiar. Blood?
Uh-oh.
Oh boy. What the hell? What's the meaning of this?
Freeze.
Identify yourself.
Shut up.
You got some nerve committing murder in a prosecutor's office. Is that a threat? Let me make one thing very clear.
What?
No one gets away with committing murder in my office. No one.
Jesus.
My name is Miles Edgeworth, and I work as a prosecutor in my local district. Little did I know that upon my return home after a month abroad, I would be thrust into a multitude of cases and some very frantic and busy days. March 14th, 2:56 a.m. High Prosecutor's Offices, room 1202.
I found his photograph in the victim's body, sir.
Very well. Please continue your investigation.
Yes, sir. Ah! Mr. Edgeworth, sir, are you okay, sir?
Keep it down, detective. This is a crime scene.
And when I heard that a murder taking place in your office, I ran up here straight away.
This is Dick Gumshoe. He is a detective with the local precinct, and the one they assigned to handle this murder case for the time being.
You're looking a little pale, sir. Are you hurt?
No, I'm perfectly fine. However,
Huh? Look what they did to your office. It's totally trashed.
I'll say, the culprits sullied my floor with dirt rather well. No one gets away with tracking mud into my office.
Whoa, sounds like you're really getting burned up over this whole thing.
This crime was committed in my office, so it is my responsibility to solve it.
Oh, that's just like you, Mr. Edgeworth. Okay, time to do some investigating.
Agreed. Our first course of action is to gather relevant facts and leads. We must not overlook anything, no matter how small, if we are to find the truth. So I'll keep any leads or information we find etched in the forefront of my mind. Speaking of things that pique my curiosity, why of all places did the murder occur in my office? I get the nagging feeling that this is something important to keep in mind.
Yeah, I was wondering that myself, sir. I mean, you can't really say it's just a coincidence, can you?
No, not really. Especially because of this.
A key to your office?
For security reasons, this office's door has a lock built into it.
Well, no shit. Well, what do you mean, sir?
If you think about it carefully and use logic, it should become clear to you.
Logic?
By finding the connection between two pieces of information and connecting them, new information is born. That is the end result of using logic.
So how do you use it?
First, I recall the information we've gathered with L1, and then I connect them together. Now to use L1, recall the facts. Right, here we go. Crime scene, my office. Is it really coincidence that the murder took place in my office? And for security reasons, this office's door has a lock built into it. Time to connect. Doing things my way. For security reasons, all prosecutors' doors are outfitted with locks, which means it would have been hard for the murderer and the victim to get in here. Ergo, it's impossible to dismiss the location of this crime as mere coincidence.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, sir.
There must be a reason why someone infiltrated my room. What was the killer after?
You're really on the ball today, Mr. Edgeworth. That's some beautiful logic, sir.
Yes, well, when you follow leads to their conclusion, only the truth remains. However, if the information doesn't line up properly, I may stray far from the truth as well. But if I think carefully before piecing leads together, the logic should flow. Well, let's get started with our investigation, shall we?
Yes, sir.
High Prosecutor's Office, Room 1202. Begin investigation!
The basis of any good investigation is to examine everything, sir.
I know that, and when I want to examine something, I simply use X when I'm next to it.
If you ever feel lost and want to talk, just talk to me, okay? I'll give you great, precise advice as an ace investigator, sir.
Something to try later if I have free time, I suppose.
Okay, so what do we got here?
What have we here? Could this perhaps be the murder weapon? If so, it would mean that the killer made their escape after disposing of their gun here.
I think I've seen one of those before.
Care to enlighten me as to where?
Oh, I know. I was issued the exact same model. I think.
Detective.
I don't really like guns all that much. I mean, they're really dangerous. Now that I think about it, you do see this model around the precinct a lot, sir. I don't use mine much, except in emergencies, so that's why I didn't recognize it.
So it's the same type of revolver as the ones used by this precinct's detectives.
Interesting. Uh-oh.
They finished photographing the body, so it should be all right to examine this area. I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny.
Keep an eye on that, kid. You're gonna hear that a lot.
What do we have here?
Hey, I think I've seen one of these before.
It's a police badge, Detective.
Oh, hey, I have the exact same thing, actually. What a coinky-dink.
Let's take a look inside. Mr. Buddy Faith. It would appear that our victim was a detective, just like you.
Oh.
I seem to have gathered a few pieces of pertinent information. Now to calmly use some logic and figure out if any of them are connected to each other. All right, here we go. Say, revolver found at the crime scene. Same model as those used by precinct detectives. The victim was a detective in and of itself. The revolver, the standard model used by detectives. Could it have belonged to our recently departed? Detective Gumshoe, could you please thoroughly check the victim's body one more time?
Yes, sir. On it now, sir. Excuse me, pal. Let's see. What do we got here? Mr. Edgeworth, sir, this guy's wearing a gun holster.
So it appears that our killer somehow managed to take the victim's gun from him. Victim's revolver data jotted down in my organizer.
It can be assumed that this gun is the murder weapon. It was issued to the victim. Well, hang on. You gonna be okay with keeping track of the evidence we find, sir?
Of course, this is the safest way I know to keep track of it all.
All right, if you say so.
I log any and all evidence I find in my organizer. Hey, gents, I doubt you know who this is, but I bet $1 that you can figure it out.
Wrestling with Horror, thank you so much for joining the stream. You know what? Let's take you up on that bet. Where do we send it?
Let's send that. Okay, so do you have...
Okay, Wrestling with Horror. Why does that sound familiar?
Is it... Could it be Johnny Dollar? Or
I don't know about that.
Do you happen to be Dollar?
It'd be kind of stupid if it was. All right, anyway, let's keep going.
I log any and all evidence I find in my organizer. When I want to re-examine a piece, I have to open my organizer. But the organizer isn't only for evidence. I keep people's profiles on it too. It's probably a good idea to make a habit of checking the facts often. Oh, come now.
Oh, come on now, boy. Okay, you got this. All right, well, let's keep going on with the game, but keep feeding us clues. Maybe we'll get it.
Let's see what else we can find out about this revolver.
As I always say, you gotta look really carefully at each piece of evidence.
Too sweet! Pete Daddy Dollar is in the house!
Oh, okay, we got a third of the way, right? What's up, brother? Holy smokes. Been a hot minute.
Let's see. Been a long time. Too sweet. Team ratings, baby.
Sweet. So anyway, you gotta really, okay, so as I always say, you gotta look really carefully at each piece of evidence. You can use the right stick to rotate an object. There's no such thing as a bad angle. As pro wrestlers, we beg to differ. Hey, I appreciate it. Even if you're stopping by for like 5 minutes, we really appreciate the support.
Your support is awesome.
Give us a bump on Twitch. We need one more follower to reach 100.
Yes, of course.
Use the shoulder buttons to zoom in and out to get at the nitty gritty.
All right, let's see.
Okay, so take a look at there's 2 cartridges there.
To think that it's so easy to take a life with just a pull of a trigger.
I'm listening while I'm setting up my new gaming PC.
Oh, nice.
You know, I can't ever see myself really liking guns. Oh, but I love the ones they use at track and field meets to start races. If you take off before it's fired, everybody always ends up following your lead.
To chase you down for a false start, Detective.
Now that you mention it, even when I finish first, I always wind up in last place.
What's this? Oh. It looks like only one round was fired from this.
Wow, so the killer killed the Vic with just one shot after wresting the gun from him? Sounds like the guy knew how to handle a gun, huh, Mr. Edgeworth?
We have no proof for now, but that is a distinct possibility. All right, let's see. Let's give the body a once-over. There's blood all over his lower abdominal area.
Looks like the bullet passed clean through his stomach area, sir.
In other words, he was shot.
Yep, and until the autopsy's done, I don't think we'll know much more than that.
Please have the body sent to the morgue once they're done processing the crime scene. Crime scene notes jotted down in my organizer.
Bullet went clean through the victim's abdomen. The body was found at around 2:05 a.m. Yikes. I don't believe it. I packed those files on these shelves so tight that not even an earthquake could make them fall off, but just look at them. At this rate, the rest of the files won't be able to withstand an earthquake at all.
A problem, to be sure. Well, once the investigation is over, we'll put them back up on the shelf.
Now, that's going to be more important than you think, kids. What's this? Your files are all over the floor, sir.
It probably fell during the struggle between the victim and his killer.
And I tried so hard to keep this place spotless while you were away. This just rendered all the time and effort I put in pointless.
I don't recall ever asking you to clean my room.
Well, I watered the flowers every day, just like you requested, sir. I just added cleaning to the list as a weekend special. For about half a day every Saturday, I'd come in and clean this place until it sparkled.
Does he have a life? I guess this is about all we're going to find out. We should send the body to autopsy.
Jim! What the? Why, oh why? How could this have happened to a guy like you?
Are you all right?
Don't touch me! Leave me alone! Just let me be!
Sorry, but I can't do that. The investigation is still ongoing, so please refrain from touching the body.
The body? The body? Don't talk about him like he's just some lump of flesh. Look at him. Jim looks like he's just turned in for the night. Sure, just in a blood-stained suit, pal. Where are my manners?
Aren't you that prosecutor?
Why, yes, I am. I'm Jacques Portsman, prosecutor. Jim here was my partner in crime, busting.
I'm Miles Edgeworth, and like you, I'm also a prosecutor.
I'm gonna retry that line. Jim here was my partner in crime busting. Okay,
I'm Miles Edgeworth, and like you, I'm also a prosecutor.
Detective Dick Gumshoe, sir. So you're Miles Edgeworth. I guess this is your office.
Yes, that is correct.
Then it was you! You're the one who killed Jim! Hey, don't go around and jumping to conclusions, pal. Just calm down, okay? I will not. I know how things work around here. High prosecutor's office doors all have locks built in them. And only the owner of the office has the key to this. And only the owner of the office has the key to his or her own office door.
That is correct. However, I was not the one who killed your partner.
Yeah, Mr. Edgeworth has been overseas on a business trip this whole time, pal. And the key to the door was with me the entire time, okay? The only one who could get in here was me. Wait, that means... I'm not sure what that means. So it was you then! You're Jim's killer! No way, pal, you got it all wrong!
Everyone calm down. Mr. Portsman, correct? If you are a real prosecutor, you should know how to stay collected. The investigation has only just begun. Isn't it too early to be drawing conclusions?
All right, I get the point. You're right, my mistake. I tend to get a little too hot-headed sometimes. You sure are one cool customer, though, Mr. Edgeworth. I've heard all the rumors about you. You're the great genius prosecutor. You're something of a legend, you know. Anyway, let's call a truce and work together, okay? Now how about a handshake to seal the deal?
A pleasure to work with you.
You guys were conducting your investigation, right? Sorry for barging in like that. Carry on then. It's your room after all.
Thank you. I intend to.
I just want a little more time to say goodbye to Jim. You there! Sir! I want you to capture this scene on film for me. My final farewell to my partner Jim. Jeez.
I should probably give them some space.
We'll go look in the corner there.
That corner?
In the left corner, yeah. Look at that. Look at this. Ah, your jacket, sir. What's it doing on the floor?
It must have fallen off the wall when the killer tried to threaten me by firing a round.
So the killer not only shot the victim, but they shot your jacket as well? They dared to shoot the ultra special jacket that you made your prosecutorial debut in? What if they'd shot through it? It would have been a disaster.
It's not worth getting worked up over, Detective. It's not worth getting worked up over, Detective. Not when there's something more here.
Huh? Like what?
I take it you haven't noticed it yet, Detective. There is a giant contradiction right here in front of us.
Right, because check it out, right? When we checked out the gun, it only had one round fired.
That's right.
But if 2 shots were fired in this office, then what does that mean? So anyway, really?
Did I say contradiction? It must be rubbing off on me. I'm starting to sound like him. But I have my own methods, and I will conduct this investigation my way. When the scene before me contradicts a piece of evidence or seems off, that's when my deductive skills come into play. First, I have to find the spot that holds the contradiction. This is it. This is it. This bullet holes where the contradiction lies. When I spot something that's off, I should point my cursor at it and press this triangle with the conviction. When I have found sufficient proof to prove the contradiction, I present it. This is how I do things.
All right, so
Eureka! This bullet hole is the contradiction.
What do you mean, sir?
It's elementary. 2 shots were fired in this room. The first felled the victim, and the second felled this frame.
Hey, that's right.
However, this gun was only fired once,
Hey, that's true too.
which means that one of these 2 bullets was fired from a different gun. Did the killer have another gun prepared for tonight?
Or was it somebody totally different? By the way, I noticed something, sir.
Yes.
What's that thing sticking out from behind the frame?
Ah, that. It's a secret safe.
What? A secret safe? Oh, I smell money.
I'll spare us the trouble and just say it. Nothing like what you're imagining is inside. Now, if you could kindly move this frame out of the way.
Roger that. Shoo, shoo, shoo. Talk about dusty.
I suppose that's what happens when I'm not here to dust it once in a while.
I had no idea there was a safe here, or I'd have kept it clean for you, sir. So when did you put this thing in?
It wasn't something I had installed personally. Every prosecutor's office has one.
Really? I had no idea.
While only prosecutors are supposed to have knowledge of their existence.
So what's inside, Mr. Edgeworth?
Right now, nothing. We only use them to store especially important evidence when a trial is in session.
Kind of reminiscent of Turnabout, Rise from the Ashes or
yeah.
something. That's it. Talk about squashing my hopes and dreams.
Secret safe data jotted down in my organizer.
Every prosecutor has one in their office. Only they know of them. Trial evidence use.
I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious looking nook and cranny.
Well, there's something. So to get a look at
Oh,
this.
first of all, why did this happen in my office? What was the killer after?
I don't think we've collected it yet. You got.
Now this is odd.
You found something, sir?
This keypad, don't you find it to be a bit too clean?
Yeah. There's a thick layer of dust all around it, but not on the keypad itself.
You there, the forensic scientist.
Yes, sir.
Could you please dust this area for fingerprints?
You got it, sir. I couldn't find, let alone lift, a single print. Looks like it was wiped down as well.
Looks like wiped down well. Secret safe data updated in my organizer.
Prints were wiped. Okay.
As I thought. It appears that logic is the only way around this setback. Time to rationally and calmly connect the dots with the information we have. Here we go.
Now we're gonna get to it.
Why did this happen in my office? What was the killer after?
So, why don't we do the wiped fingerprints?
All of the fingerprints on this have been wiped clean off. Hoo-yah! I believe I have figured out what the murderer was after.
Well, what is it, sir?
The fact that the safe was wiped clean of fingerprints suggests that the criminal had at least attempted to open my safe, making the culprit's motive for breaking and entering theft, I believe. I wonder if knowing that the motive behind this break-in was the theft changes what the other pieces of information can tell me about this crime. Okay, so my files are a mess, pointing to a struggle between the victim and the killer. The culprit tried to open my safe. Was the killer's motive theft? Hoo-yah! There is a possibility that the files splayed on the floor are not the result of a struggle between the victim and his killer.
Oh, you mean it could be like from when the killer tried to find something, sir?
Precisely. We need to figure out if any of the files have been stolen.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna show files like you've never seen before, even at a library.
Sure. Let's give that a try.
Why do all the good ones always die young? Surely you must ponder that every once in a while, Mr. Edgeworth.
No matter how much we lament, the dead will not come back to life. All we can do is search for the truth.
And? So what are we supposed to do? How do we get about finding the truth? All about, but sure.
First, we calmly restore the files to their rightful place.
You got it. Here, let me help. So this file goes here, and that book goes there. You sure know a lot about where things go, despite it being Mr. Edgeworth's office. Because I'm the one who keeps it tidy, pal, okay? Done.
Okay, done.
Ooh.
It would appear that the murder was definitely committed here.
Bloodstains on the bookshelf are still fresh.
I suspect that the victim was killed in a standing position, hence the prints on the shelf.
And then a guy fell out on the floor, right? The blood on the floor's kind of grossing me out.
Detective, I don't have the time to deal with your weak stomach right now.
But you know I'm no good with blood, sir.
I'm certain there's something wrong with this picture.
Yeah, the bullet hole down there.
Is this spot somehow connected to any of the evidence I hold?
Absolutely, the gun. No, the bullet went clean through, so it's the crime scene notes.
Bullet went clean through the victim's abdomen. The body was found around 2:05 a.m. Eureka! There is clearly a contradiction here with this bullet hole.
Well, what do you mean, sir?
You don't see? Quite simply, the bullet hole itself is too low. If the victim was shot in the stomach, the hole should be much higher up.
And what if the guy was shot while he was sitting or lying down, sir?
That would be illogical. The victim leaned against this shelf here after being shot, which suggests that he was standing when he was shot.
That means... Wait, what does that mean, sir?
It means you need to use your brain every once in a while instead of mine, detective.
Roasted.
In any case, it means someone made a faulty assumption. And it was from this mistake, beg pardon, and it was from this mistake that our current contradiction was born. What is the faulty assumption that caused this problem with the bullet hole's position?
The order of the files.
I believe the order of the files is a bit off.
You mean I put them back in the wrong order just now? Hey, actually, I think the labels on the files are wrong, sir.
Oh?
Yeah. You see here how the files that were shot begin with the number 0? What are those doing all the way down there after 1, 2, and 3? That's really weird.
Actually, the way they are organized now is the correct order. They are exactly as I see them in my mind's eye.
But the numbers are all out of order.
Those white binders are special, so they are arranged a little differently. But from this, we know that the files were not in this order when the crime occurred. So that's it. I believe the killer made the same incorrect assumption as you just did, Detective. Let's rearrange the files in numerical order and see what we find out.
You think it'd be okay to prop the body back up to how it was before it was moved?
I finished processing the crime scene, so I don't see why it wouldn't be. If you please, Detective Gumshoe. As I suspected, the bullet hole is now where it should logically be. The killer went through my files first before shooting Mr. Faith.
And then put the files back in numerical order, I guess.
Exactly. And then proceeded to shoot the victim.
But why would someone kill a man and then look through your files one more time?
Puzzling indeed. The files were thrown into disarray twice, once before and once after the crime. But why?
Indeed.
Now the crime scene is as it was at the time of the murder. Time to give it another look.
There's something missing over there.
This!
But what is that? Why does it say Gumshoe on there in blood? I'd say that's some incredibly incriminating evidence.
Yes, indicative of criminal activity indeed.
Now wait, there's gotta be some mistake. Mr. Edgeworth, sir, help me. Say something, sir.
It appears that one of my files was stolen.
Is that all, sir? What about me and my situation?
Is this what the killer was really after? Stolen file data jotted down in my organizer.
One of the files that were written upon in blood was stolen by the culprit. Oh.
Investigation complete.
Looks like Jim was able to leave us the name of his killer in the end. And this most important message managed to reach us. I'm telling you, it wasn't me. You can't be terribly pleased to hear that your beloved partner is the guilty party.
If you're going to accuse Detective Gumshoe of being the culprit, I sincerely hope you have some proof to back it up.
Jim's words, they're more than enough, wouldn't you say?
If that's how you want to play it, then at least allow me to understand your reasoning.
You got it. Oh boy.
Here we go. I don't like this one bit. There's something strange about this man's attitude. And there must be some sort of flaw to his logic waiting for me to dig out.
Mr. Edgeworth, what are you gonna do?
What I always do in court, I'm going to cross-examine him. One way or another, I'll expose the flaw in his logic with this technique.
Ooh, how do you do that? Can you explain it to me, sir?
Maybe some other time. Mr. Portsman, if you are ready.
If you don't have time, you could just say so, sir.
All right, here we go. Time for a little argument. Mr. Portsman's logic.
Detective Gumshoe, You stole Jim's gun from him and shot him dead. Furthermore, you messed up the files to make it look like you had committed theft instead. That's when you moved Jim's body that was sitting in front of the bookshelf. But thanks to that, you didn't notice the bloody letters his body was hiding. And it will be by his final words that you will be brought to justice.
You intend to argue that the victim's dying message points to his killer.
I can hear Jim's voice, and he's calling for his killer's arrest.
Are you sure you're not mishearing his words, Mr. Portsman? There is no way Detective Gumshoe is the culprit here. I will find a flaw in this man's logic and expose it with credible evidence.
All right.
All right, cross-examination time, or should I say rebuttal time.
Detective Gumshoe, you stole Jim's gun from him and shot him dead. Further, you messed up the files to make it look like you had committed theft instead. That's when you moved Jim's body that was sitting in front of the bookshelf. But thanks to that, you didn't notice the bloody letters his body was hiding.
One of the files that were written upon blood was stolen by the culprit. Objection! Perhaps you're not aware, Mr. Portsman, but there is a serious flaw in your logic.
Bring a bit of the courtroom into this, I see. No problem, I'm game.
I can't help but find it odd.
Excuse me?
Odd that a fellow prosecutor would be brought down by the power of his own office.
What are you talking about? Oh, you're joking. I get it.
If you have the time to laugh, then you have the time to take another closer look at this. Do you still not see? If not, may I direct your attention to the missing file?
What? That's impossible!
What's impossible, Mr. Portsman?
Nothing.
The files on that shelf are all about a certain case. When the killer went to take the file after murdering your partner, I highly doubt they could have missed the bloody letters written on the spines.
Objection! It's possible they could have taken the file before committing the murder.
I think it's pretty obvious that the file was stolen after it was written on. The missing letters in the detective's name, where the file should be, is proof.
Yeah, I mean the S is gone, and there's only half an H.
If Detective Gumshoe really was the culprit of this case, I highly doubt that even he could overlook his own name written in blood on the files, especially as a detective who can't stand the sight of blood.
Huh? Which means, what exactly? What does that make this dying message?
It makes the work of a criminal intent on tampering with the crime scene.
That's so low. I can't believe the criminal tried to pin this whole thing on me, sir. I'm gonna get him, sir. You'll see. I'm gonna have him under arrest in no time.
Well, Mr. Portsman?
Brilliant. Absolutely splendid. Logic deserving of Olympic gold.
I appreciate the praise, but it doesn't change the fact that your reasoning is flawed.
You win some and you lose some. That's how life goes. Glad everyone's so cheery, even though I feel more dead than alive. But you know, it really is a shame. I really didn't want to have to bring this up, however. What is it this time? Are you still after me, pal? Humor me for a second. Who has the key to this office? That would be me. Mr. Edgeworth just proved that I'm innocent, pal. Ha-ha. That's absolutely right, and I acknowledge your innocence.
Then why do I sense that you still have something to say?
What the hell is he doing? Well, I was thinking, did you know there is one other person with a key to this office?
Uh-oh. One other person?
Hey, you there.
Yes, sir. What is it, sir?
Would you kindly fetch and escort that lovely young lady here for me?
I'm gonna use a girl voice on her.
Okay.
A lady?
The girl is a member of this building's security. Think of her as a material witness. Security? Did you say security? No, stop it, pal. Don't.
What's wrong with him all of a sudden? Oh boy.
I believe she needs no introduction. I have called upon Ms. Maggey Byrde, a member of security.
Detective Gumshoe, sir.
Maggey! Miss Byrde is a security guard on watch tonight.
I see. And your point is?
My point is that she could very well have used it. And by it, I mean the master key, which can open all the office doors in this building. What? If you are not the guilty party, Detective Gumshoe, then the only other person with access to this room is Miss Byrde.
How dare you! I would never sneak into someone's room!
That's right. I refuse to believe that Maggie's the culprit, pal. It was me. That's right. I did it.
What are you doing,
What
Dick?
are you doing, you big dummy? Can we take that as a confession, Detective? Well, it wasn't really me, but it definitely wasn't Maggey, pal. So yeah, it was me. If it was, you'd have no problems with that, right?
Please refrain from flying off the handle, Detective. There's no need for such theatrics.
Listen to your boss, Detective. He understands what I'm saying here. That girl is the only one who could have committed the crime, and for one simple reason.
Oh yeah? Got an argument time, reason for suspicion.
It's pretty obvious that Miss Byrde snuck into your room using the master key. I mean, if Detective Gumshoe isn't the one who opened the door, then that leaves only Miss Byrde as our prime suspect. On top of which, she knows our good detective, doesn't she? Making it all the more probable that she was the one who faked the dying message.
I don't think so. So you're saying she used the master key. Master key data jotted down in my organizer. This can open every office door. Its use is controlled by security staff.
Incredibly incriminating evidence, wouldn't you say?
That's what you claimed about the evidence earlier as well.
That was then, this is now. The flow of a good match always changes during a rally. It's all about reflexes and reaction time, especially for an athlete like me.
I wonder if there was anyone else other than Miss Byrde who could have used the master key. It seems that the only way to get Mr. Portsman to give me more details is to press him. I think I'll just grill him like a hamburger.
Yep.
Rebuttal time.
Pretty obvious that Miss Byrde snuck into your room using the master key.
Hold it. Are you sure Miss Byrde is the only member of security who could have used the master key?
There's only one person on staff at this time of night, and tonight she's it. Isn't that right, Miss Byrde?
That's, true, but I wasn't able to use the master key at the time of the crime, sir.
Wasn't able to? What's that supposed to mean?
Yes, moving on. I'd hate to get sidetracked by something unrelated. What do you mean unrelated? I want to hear what she has to say, pal. But you can't really trust her not to tell lies. Plus, I hate wasting time.
Should I hear Miss Byrde out? Ask for more details. Not so fast. I, too, am interested in hearing what Miss Byrde has to say.
Didn't I just say it'd be a waste of time? We don't need to hear her lies.
I'll be the judge of that. Miss Byrde, if you please.
I discovered that the master key was missing at around 1 a.m., sir.
What do you mean by missing?
As in, it wasn't anywhere in the security booth, sir. The killer must have stolen it.
Mr. Portsman, I believe this to be an important piece of testimony. Don't you?
I can't believe that someone like you would be taken in by such words.
I'm not lying, sir.
Objection! If that's the case, then I'd like to know why you have the master key now.
I don't quite know. It just reappeared all of a sudden, sir.
Ha! A likely story. And where is your proof that the key was stolen to begin with? I bet you just forgot where you put it and then found it again.
I never lose things. I can practically guarantee that. With me, if something disappears, it's usually because someone stole it.
Yeah, pal. Trust me, you don't want to test just how bad her luck is.
Unfortunately, I can't deem this piece of testimony as conclusive.
Glad you agree, Mr. Edgeworth. But you still haven't established Maggie's motive for breaking into Mr. Edgeworth's office. Her motive? Didn't we already establish that it was theft? I mean, the culprit clearly went through the bookshelves and at least tried the safe.
It is as Mr. Portsman says, Detective. I can't ignore the fact that all the evidence points towards a motive of theft. When I'm done taking blows, it's time to counterattack with a few facts of my own.
Her intent? From the messed up shelves to the wiped down safe, I'd say thievery.
What do you mean? Each prosecutor has one in their office. Only they know of them. Prints were wiped.
So how would she even know about the safe?
Objection! Do you wish to continue insisting that Miss Byrde was set on stealing something?
Why not? It's the truth, after all. It was also by your logic that we came to the whole thievery conclusion anyway.
That may be, but you must also be aware of the fact that the safe is a secret safe, the existence of which is only privy to prosecutors. I find it a little hard to believe that a hidden safe was a part of her cunning plan.
But she could have found it by accident while she was turning everything up But she could have found it by accident while she was turning everything else upside down.
I highly doubt that. I'd say the culprit knew exactly what they were looking for. After all, only the bookshelf and the safe were targeted.
Yeah, even I didn't know about that safe, pal. And that means there's no way Maggey could have known about it either. Oh, then are you proposing that the killer is a prosecutor?
Interesting conclusion. That's definitely looking more and more probable. What's wrong, prosecutor? Do you have a different suspect in mind now?
Curses, why? Why, what made you? What's with the angry face all of a sudden? It's all my fault.
What do you mean?
It's Jim. He knew about the existence of the secret safes.
What did you just say?
We were partners, like inseparable conjoined twins. That's why I told him. I filled him in on the secret safes. And that means... Yeah, I know. I only just told him, too. Obviously, it was wrong of me to tell him. I still can't quite believe it, but the thief who broke into your room was probably Jim.
Now he's claiming that the victim was the thief?
And you were simply trying to stop him, weren't you, Ms. Maggey Byrde?
Excuse me?
I mean, you are a security guard, right? That's your job. But killing is going a bit too far, even in your risky profession. What the? You're still accusing Maggey of the murder? Yes and no. I mean, she had stumbled upon Jim, would probably drawn his gun. I get it. It was self-defense, wasn't it?
No, I couldn't. I could never do something like that. Not even as a security guard, sir.
Plus, even if he was the thief, he wouldn't have a key to this office. Which is precisely why he had to steal it, wouldn't you say? It was Jim who stole the master key. Pretty impossible for a supposedly stolen key to be here with us, unless you retrieved it from Jim after you killed him.
Mr. Portsman, Are you honestly accusing your own partner of being a thief?
I don't want to admit it, but it's the only way for everything else to make sense.
Has he no honor?
Now then, I think we're done here. The investigation waits for no man. Would you people be so kind as to see yourselves out? You can't kick us out. This is Mr. Edgeworth's office. But I'm the one who's been assigned to this case. You are all suspects to varying degrees, and therefore ineligible to run this show. Listen, pal. How many times do I have to say this? Maggey can't be the culprit.
Detective Gumshoe, calm yourself.
But, sir...
We have no choice but to accommodate his request. For now.
Haha! Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. At least one of you understands. Now then, if you could remove yourselves from my crime scene, I'd be most grateful.
Mark my words, Mr. Portsman. We will meet again.
If that's a formal request from the legendary prosecutor himself, then I suppose so. Now don't disappoint me, you hear?
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
To be continued. We gotta march forward. It's only been an hour.
Yep.
Let's go! Save in progress? Yes. No game data? Well, I got your game data right here, buddy. Save complete. March 14th, 4:18 a.m. Prosecutor's building, 12th floor, hallway.
Man, it's getting late. What is with that prosecutor? I can't believe how rude he was. It was unbelievable.
Please maintain your professionalism, detective.
I'm gonna find some real solid evidence proving Maggie's innocence. You'll see, sir.
But we've been kicked out of the crime scene, sir.
True. So then what now?
Looks like my life's fallen into yet another gigantic ditch.
Do not despair, Miss Byrde. We can overcome this as well. There are many other places and things we should be looking into anyway.
Really, sir?
For example, this hallway. The linchpin of this argument against Miss Byrde is related to the master key. In that case, this hallway is the perfect place to look for more information regarding the mystery surrounding my door. Begin investigation.
Well, take a look under the couch there. Huh? What the hell is that?
I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. It's...
Ha! Isn't this that missing O-Series file, sir?
No doubt about it. The bloody letters mark it clear as day. There seem to be a few pages missing. Uh-oh. Our thief took only what was necessary and left the rest behind.
So what are these zero files about, sir? I guess they've got something worth stealing in them, huh?
Not particularly. It's just a collection of court case files. However, the cases within these files are not mine.
Huh?
They belong to the high prosecutor that used to occupy my current office.
Lana Sky. If I'm not mistaken.
I have my reasons, but let's just say I was charged with keeping them as they were.
And that means the thief must have also wanted the file for a specific reason, right?
It would seem so. Only the pages related to that case from 10 years ago are missing.
I wonder why anyone would care about such an old case.
Alright, let's gotta back up and... What's this? What is a basketball doing here?
That's Mr. Portsman's prized possession, sir. I heard he also plays soccer, dodgeball, and even tennis.
And not a single one of those sports is suitable to be played in a hallway.
Well, look at that, it's our old friend.
What is a basketball hoop doing here?
Hey, didn't this used to be just outside next to the building a long time ago?
So when and why was it moved indoors?
Odd. I don't remember it exactly, but I saw one of the officers drag it up here recently.
Drag it?
I heard that it wouldn't fit in the elevator, so the poor guy had to bring it himself.
All the way up to the 12th floor? Well, look who it is. It's Winston Payne, ladies and gentlemen. It looks like you're in quite the pinch, Mr. Edgeworth. To be sure, a murder within the walls of the prosecutor's office is no trifling matter. We must find, apprehend, and punish the killer accordingly post haste.
Sounds like a messy case you've got on your hands. If you ever feel lost or need some advice, my door is always open.
How gracious. I will keep your offer in mind.
Who is this guy again?
They didn't even give him his name. It said prosecutor.
This office.
1203. 1203. Hey, Maggie, whose room is this again?
It's Mr. Portsmouth, sir.
So he's my new neighbor, I see. I suppose he moved in while while I was away overseas.
Can we? Okay. Well, we can talk. I guess we can talk to her.
Or I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. 1202. These 4 numbers on a number plate alone proclaim this to be my office.
Whoops. Hey, these number plates slide right out, sir.
They have to be able to take the plate off when a room becomes vacant, you know. Although, the idea that it can be so easily removed is kind of... I don't see any signs of forced entry.
And according to the guard, no signs that the lock was picked up. And according to the guard, no signs that the lock was picked either, sir.
Meaning that the door really was open with the key. Did you happen to ask if any prints were lifted from the doorknob?
Apparently, the doorknob's clean as a whistle. Wiped, they think.
Whoever this thief is, they did a good job of not leaving any clues behind.
Blade King's in the house.
Blade
Hi.
King! How you doing? Thanks for joining the chapel, man. I was wondering if I may speak with you for a bit concerning this case.
I've always been a big fan of the courtroom, but this is like a dream. A dream where I'm being cross-examined by the Miles Edgeworth.
I can't let this chance pass me by. I must remember to ask her about the master key. I should jog her memory and show my notes to her with this triangle.
All right, let's talk to her about this. So when did you discover that the master key was missing?
By the time I realized it, I think it was around 1 a.m., sir. And I noticed it was back at around 2:30 a.m. It was just sitting there on the edge. It was just sitting there on the ledge where the security room's reception window is. But I'm sure that between those 2 times, it was not just gone, but stolen, sir.
Oh! Why is such an important key stored in such an insecure place?
It's not like that, sir. We always keep the key further inside the room, away from the window.
Always, you say? Except for this time, correct?
Well, I admit that I admit that was a bit careless, but I had my reasons. I left it out because I was sort of using it at the time. It was after I had used that. It was after I used it that I left it sitting on the ledge.
She used the master key?
But for what? All right. I gotta take care of some business. You go ahead and keep going. I'll be right back.
Okay,
Keep trucking, Tom Miller.
roger that. I'm gonna say hi to Blade King for a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks for joining the chat, my man. Okay, the victim. Have you ever met the victim before?
Well, I've seen him a couple of times before when I had to go to Mr. Portsmouth's office. Mr. Faith was always playing basketball with Mr. Portsmouth, sir.
That sounds like fun. Just once, I'd have loved to play with them.
It sounds fun, but the only person that ever taken a shot was Mr. Portsmouth. All Mr. Faith ever did was passing the ball, sir.
Yeah, on second thought, I don't think I'd have fit in all that well with them. Use the master key? What did you mean by you used the master key?
Oh, I had to use it to open the door for this prosecutor who had forgotten his key. I mean, it's my job as a security guard, right?
What is it?
That's right! I just remembered! The prosecutor who forgot his key. It was Mr. Portsman, sir.
What? Please tell me more, Miss Byrde, quickly.
It was around 12 a.m. Mr. Portsman had forgotten his office key, so he came down to security, sir.
And that's when you loaned the master key to him?
No way! It's against regulations to loan the master key out to anyone. I walked with Mr. Portsman to his office and opened the door for him personally, sir.
I see.
And then what happened after that?
Well, he called for me to close up his office as he was leaving to go home. That was around 1:30 a.m., I think.
So, in summary, for the sake of one forgetful prosecutor, you used the master key twice tonight. Talk about suspicious. I doubt you can say that you've never left your keys at home, Detective.
I think this calls for a thorough examination of Mr. Portsman's door.
All right, how about Maggey Byrde? Miss Maggey Byrde, correct? I take it that you're an acquaintance of the detective? She was under my supervision back when she was still on the force, sir. One day she got caught up in a murder and things started going downhill, so she quit.
But I owe a lot to Detective Gumshoe for introducing me to my current employer. Or so I thought until a few hours ago, right before I was about to clock out for the night.
You got caught up in this whirlwind of a case, correct?
Don't worry. My whole life has been nothing but a whirlwind of bad luck and failures.
Looks like a trip down memory lane.
Since I was 6 months old, when I fell from the 9th floor of my apartment building, I've been hit by all sorts of vehicles, gotten sick from all sorts of foods, failed in almost every test I've taken, experienced almost every kind of disaster, and now I even managed to be named a criminal just when I become a security guard.
That's a lot to go through in one lifetime.
I know! And just when I thought I had finally found my happiness, I wind up getting you and Detective Gumshoe involved in my bad luck.
You don't need to worry about me, Miss Byrde, nor do you need to worry about yourself. I will solve this case and prove your innocence. All I ask in return is for your cooperation.
Yes, sir, Mr. Edgeworth. You can count on me. I'll do all I can to help.
Okay, now it's time to go investigate that door.
I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny.
No, not yet. The door is locked tight.
I bet the old credit card trick won't work here, huh, Mr. Edgeworth?
This is the office of a high prosecutor, Detective. These doors will be pretty ineffective if the average cat burglar could get through them.
Aha! So I guess only a great cat burglar could get in. That must be who our culprit is.
Might I advise you to return that conclusion to whatever pawn shop you bought it from?
Ooh, got his ass.
Roasted. Room 1203. I take it that this is Mr. Portsman's office?
Yeah, you can't mistake it because of that basketball hoop, sir. Oh, that reminds me. Mr. Portsman actually wanted room 1202 really badly. But since you were already occupying it, Mr. Edgeworth, we put him next door, sir.
So, why was Mr. Portsman so particular about getting room 1202?
Probably because of that safe.
I'm not sure, but I bet it's because of something like his birthday is December 2nd.
Yep, that's gotta be it. I can't think of another reason why.
I think of at least 3. Bah! Why am I even wasting time thinking about this?
We already know what... Okay. It's Mr. Portsman's personal basketball hoop.
I can't believe he put something like this in the hallway of a prosecutor's office.
But you know, it's actually pretty useful, sir. I haven't gotten lost trying to get to your office since it's been here.
How long have I had the same office, and yet you still managed to get lost?
Jesus.
A minimalist yet classy door made of top quality wood.
It's kind of majestic too. Fits in really well with the ambience of the prosecutor's offices. Even Mr. Portsman seems dignified just because he works behind one of these.
Nonsense. A man doesn't become more or less dignified because of where he works.
Well, he seems more dignified than Mr. Payne.
Mr. Payne? Well, I suppose custodial work can also be dignified.
Custodial
Oh,
work.
looks like some logic time. Let's see. Use the master key. This key was used to unlock and lock Portsman's office at 12 a.m. 1:30 a.m. This key went missing on proxy. Can they connect that? Let's see.
Let's try it. Dang.
Miss Byrde, I'm afraid there's a flaw in your story.
What? No way, pal. I mean, sir.
You said that you locked up Mr. Portsman's office at around 1. Hold on, I gotta hydrate, folks.
This is a big one.
You said that you locked up Mr. Portsman's office at around 1:30 a.m., correct? However, the master key had already been stolen at that time.
Wow! Nothing gets by you, Mr. Edgeworth. You saw that contradiction like a pro. I had totally forgotten about all that. But thanks to you, I remember it now.
You're right!
You're right! It was around that very time that I realized the master key was missing.
And?
Well, I'm a security guard, sir. I couldn't just admit to losing the master key, could I? So I pretended to lock up his room, sir.
You pretended?
Yeah, I used my house key and made it look like I was locking up, sir.
So, in actuality, you never did relock the door then?
Well, I thought that maybe I could go lock it after I found the key. Come to think of it, I guess the door still hasn't been locked properly.
Mr. Portsman's office data jotted down in my organizer.
Miss Byrde unlocked the door, but master key was stolen, so she could not lock it up. So can we go in?
Is this spot somehow connected to any of the evidence I hold?
Eureka! This location contradicts this piece of evidence.
Huh? I don't see anything wrong at all, sir.
Detective Gumshoe, you should think a little harder, sir. Although, I don't really get it myself either.
I see. In that case, I'll point out what's wrong once more for the two of you.
I sense that if I look a little harder, I'll find the contradictions slumbering here. I should probably also flip through my organizer one more time.
Wait a second. Let me look at the, Hold on, let's see. Oh, I forgot something here. Arena mode, autoplay. Story mode. There we go. Turn on story mode? No, can't do the beginning thing.
So let's just figure it out.
Let's see.
Oh, right. Ms. Byrde unlocked the door, but master key was stolen, so she could not lock it up. And such as, well, we know for sure that Detective Gumshoe's dinner only consists of instant noodles.
Wow, that was amazing, sir. How did you know?
Was that supposed to be a joke to cheer me up, Mr. Edgeworth?
Yes, that's it. Now then, we should get back to doing what we need to do. And we need to examine the prints on the doorknob. The prints on the doorknob will tell us everything.
Hey, you. Yeah, you, pal. Do us a favor and see what you can learn from this, okay? So, what'd you find out?
There's no need for such belligerent nostril flaring, Detective.
Sir, I have found only Mr. Portman's and Mr. Faith's prints on this doorknob.
So only two people's prints were found on this, huh? That's pretty decisive. What's this?
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Well, that just means the players are. We're still going.
Okay, continue. So only 2 people's prints were found in this, huh? That's pretty decisive.
Huh? I'm lost, sir.
Thinking logically, a certain other person's prints should be on this knob as well. Now then, whose print should also be on this doorknob?
Maggie's.
Take that! Don't you find... Voo-Voo-1, Voo-Voo-1. Thanks for the subscription, my man. Don't you find it odd that the prints of the person who unlocked this door are absent?
You mean?
Yes, the door that Miss Byrde opened could not have been this one, but a different one. Mr. Portsman's office data updated in my organizer.
Miss Byrde says she unlocked this door, but her prints were not found on the doorknob.
What have we here?
Uh-oh.
I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious looking nook and cranny.
Well, what is that?
What's this?
What are you looking at, sir? Oh, hey, how about a game?
That's okay, Detective. I just found the position of this hoop to be a little off.
Hey, you're right, sir. I guess it shifted when someone made a seriously sweet slam dunk.
The positioning of the hoop is definitely unnatural. I better take note of this.
Basketball hoop data jotted down in my organizer.
It's sitting in front of Mr. Portsman's office. There are signs that it's been moved.
What about this letter? What is this?
Looks like a scrap of paper. I'll get it, sir. Let's see. Oh, there's something written on it.
About the 3 pieces of evidence by, just like we talked about on the phone, but it looks like you're out. Guess I'll catch up to you later, buddy. It looks like a note from the victim.
Yeah, and it's for Mr. Portsman.
Note left by victim data jotted down in my organizer.
Found under the door for the absent Portsman.
Investigation complete!
Hey, he got his health back.
Poking around in this hallway has actually paid off quite handsomely.
Huh? How so, sir?
In a variety of different ways. I think it's time we had a little chat with the real culprit of this case.
You know who the killer is? Wow, Mr. Edgeworth.
As long as my logic is sound, then yes, the mastermind behind this murder is none other than Mr. Portsman.
What? Mr. Portsman?
I knew it! That's exactly what my logic senses were telling me too. I suspected it was him from the instant he accused Maggey of being the killer, sir.
That is anything but logical.
Lady and gentlemen, prepare yourselves. Come what may, it's time to knock down on truth's door. Here we go. March 14th, 5:12 a.m. High Prosecutor's Office, room 1202.
Master Portsman, I finished processing the bloody letter, sir. All right, let me take a gander at it. Pass it here. Jesus. Okay, looking good. You there, take good care of this. Whoa! Well, if it isn't Detective Gumshoe. End of the line for you, Portsman. We've got you now. Call off your dog, Mr. Edgeworth. This is some kind of joke.
It's no joke. We know, Mr. Jack Portsman, that you are the guilty party in this case.
Huh. You must be pretty upset getting chased out of your own room. I'd be mad too. So I guess you can stay. If you promise to stay out of our way.
You intend to hide your crime under the guise of a prosecutor doing his job? Oh, didn't they know? Oh, didn't know they animated that.
They sure did.
Yeah. I could see right through the unsightly paper-thin mask you wear upon your cowl.
Who'd have ever thought it would come to this? Actually, come to think of it, your mentor was Manfred von Karma, right? The legendary prosecutor who never lost a single case for 40 long years.
Yeah, I remember this dude.
Mm-hmm. But there was always this incessant chatter about forged evidence with that guy. Oh. Really teaches me that I gotta stay on the lookout for false accusations, you know?
Are you done trying to play mind games with me? Because they won't work. The only thing you should be using that mouth of yours for now is explaining yourself. Although that too will only dig your hole deeper. Either way, your game is up.
Well, aren't we full of ourselves? Even though you have yet to prove anything.
Here we go. Time for another argument. Mr. Portson's rebuttal.
I have no idea what sort of harebrained idea you have in mind, but there's a mountain of evidence that points away from me being the culprit. Besides, how, may I ask, do you propose I unlocked your door and got in here? Look, I feel bad doing this to you, but I've got work to do, so we're done here.
No, we're not.
No way, baby.
Sorry, but we are not finished yet.
Boy, you're stubborn. Suppose you're basing your accusations on something?
I'll show you what I'm basing my accusation on, with evidence.
All right, time for a little rebuttal.
I have no idea what sort of harebrained idea you have in mind, but a mountain of evidence that points away from me being the culprit.
Let's see. It's sitting in front of Portsmouth's office here. Science has been.
Well, I wouldn't use that phrase. Move on to the next one. Besides, how may I ask do you propose I unlocked your door and got in here? Use the hoop, I guess.
Objection!
Not this one. Mr. Portsmouth, there is a large flaw in your logic.
Really? I think it holds up rather well, actually. What do you think is wrong with it?
Nothing. Let's move on.
This isn't like you at all, sir. Concentrate.
That was careless of me. I can't afford to do that, or the truth will slowly slip away. Remain calm, Miles. It's the only way.
Alright, so...
This can open every office door that was stolen from the security office. Could it be?
Objection!
Objection!
Okay, we're gonna get there in a minute.
I believe you were able to open my office door with the master key, no less.
Objection! Wait, hold on for a sec. I never laid a finger on that key, as you already know.
Precisely. You were able to open my door without lifting a single finger. Well, maybe you did, but only to direct. That's right. You used your finger to direct this person to open my door with the key.
Take that!
You had asked Miss Byrde to open your own office door for you, yes?
Yeah, kind of forgot my key at home. Happens a bit too often for my taste, you know.
But the room you had Miss Byrde open at that time was not your own, was it?
What?
You have quite the imagination. But why don't we ask the girl herself whose door she opened, shall we?
I'm certain that it was Mr. Portsmouth's door, sir. I checked the number plate to make sure I was opening the right door, sir.
See? Ms. Byrde backs up my story.
Good old player knows the contradiction of a game requires step-by-step explanation.
Yep, that's right.
You betcha.
Yeah.
Yet, what if you had misled her to fool her into thinking what you wanted?
Ha! And how do you suppose I did that?
By switching the number plates on our doors, for example.
That's right. They do slide out pretty easily.
Furthermore, you then used one other thing to give a very strong impression that the door she was opening was yours and not, in fact, mine.
What was it that Mr. Portsmouth used to make Miss Byrde think it was his room?
The hoop.
There we go. Now we're getting to the nitty-gritty.
What? The basketball hoop, sir?
It's quite the peculiar fixture in any hallway, let alone a hallway in this building, which is why it left an unusually strong impression on you. It's an object perfectly suited to sit just outside the office of a particular prosecutor. Peculiar.
That's very true, sir. Because there was a basketball hoop sitting there. I thought the door I was opening had to be Mr. Portsman's.
There are signs that the hoop has been moved. To sit it in front of my office, to be sure.
I see. So that's how you throw suspicion on people. Thanks for the tip. But I think your conjecture is a little off the racetrack.
Uh-oh, here we go. Time for
Another one.
Conjecture's rebuttal.
Now you're just spouting nonsense. I had the girl open my office door. After that, I was in my room the entire time.
No, you
weren't. You don't have a single reason to suspect me. We got plenty.
So, he intends to claim his innocence to the end, does he?
I'm as pure and innocent as my jacket. And Miss Byrde is as dirty and guilty as the jacket she wears.
My jacket's not dirty, I'll have you know. I just washed it yesterday.
Please calm down, for I intend to show who is the one truly covered in slime here. Wow, they actually made the sweatband stop the sweat from falling below it.
It actually does what it's supposed to do.
Exactly, yeah. All right, conjecture's rebuttal.
And now you're just spouting nonsense. I had the girl open my office door. After that, I was in my room the entire time. Let's see here.
Hold it. And what were you doing in your office?
Yeah, good question. I was doing my usual training regimen.
Training regimen? Were you going through your law books from start to finish?
Mainly batting practice and some weights. Oh, and I jog when I get the chance. Well, you must be the buffest prosecutor we have.
With the weakest legal muscles, it would seem.
I was doing my usual workout, so you don't have a single reason to suspect me.
What about this? Paging pertaining to a case tried 10 years ago by my predecessor and missing. He hid the book outside of the hallway, didn't he?
Well, hang on. What proof do we have?
No, not this.
Well, maybe that was, if he was in his office the whole time, why was that note stuck under his office door?
Objection! Gotcha, bitch! That was a lie.
What are you talking about? How was that a lie?
This is a note that the victim left for you, Mr. Portsman.
A note?
It was left under your door, or did you not notice? And right here it says, "But you're out." You were not in your room when the victim came to call on you. So then, where were you and what were you doing? Shall I explain it in full detail for you? You were busy snooping around in my room, the very room you had Miss Byrde open for you.
Objection! That's just nonsense. You have no evidence that I made the girl open your door for me.
Ooh, listen to that music.
Uh-huh.
Oh, but I do. I have very decisive evidence.
No way!
This is proof positive that you had Miss Byrde open the door for you.
Miss Byrde says she unlocked this door.
I had your door dusted for prints.
My door? Ha! What for? Come on, I bet you didn't find anything. You sure are good at wasting time.
You're right. I didn't find anything, and definitely not Miss Byrde's fingerprints. Quick question. You want to use the arranged soundtrack, or do you want the original?
It doesn't matter. Well,
Yeah, I want to use the original.
okay.
You're right. I didn't find anything, and definitely not Miss Byrde's fingerprints.
Her prints? What do they have to do with anything?
Let's put it this way. If she really was the one who opened your door, then her prints should naturally be on the doorknob she touched. further. All of the prints on my office door's knob have been wiped clean off. I can only assume it's because Ms. Byrde's fingerprints were on it. Don't you think it's time you gave up your charade? We know you stole into my office with the intent of stealing something from me, and Detective Faith found you out. Possibly because he heard sounds coming from a room whose occupant was on leave. Mr. Portsman, you killed Mr. Faith to silence him. And I had the misfortune to return when I did. You had to threaten me as you escaped. As I said when you had the gun to my back, no one gets away with committing murder in my office.
And just what's so funny, pal? Well, that look of stiff seriousness on the face of this office's finest prosecutor, as he makes a huge mistake in accusing me, is simply too much to bear. There's just nothing else like it in the world.
What?
Mr. Edgeworth just explained it all, and he even backed it up. You're the murderer. Stop trying to be slippery and just admit to the crime already.
And as I said earlier, it's also circumstantial, so full of conjecture. You say you checked my doorknob for prints? Well, I can readily confess that I had wiped that knob down as... Well, I can readily confess that I had wiped that knob down well. I'm a little obsessive-compulsive, you see. I didn't want to touch a doorknob that you had touched, which is why I wiped the knob down as soon as I could after you opened the door. After that, it makes perfect sense that only Jim's and my own prints would be on there. You made that up just now, didn't you? Furthermore, as for the note Jim left for me, you know exactly when that was? For all we know, he could have left it there before I arrived at the office. Like early evening, for example.
Are you saying you failed to notice a note in your doorway?
Hey, even geniuses fail at times. I was probably too preoccupied by work-related matters. Although that's no excuse.
Now that's just a flat-out lie. There's no way you didn't notice a note that size.
But you can't prove that, can you?
Say something, Mr. Edgeworth. Back me up here, sir.
Portsman makes a good point. I can't prove that he didn't simply overlook it.
Besides, I have an airtight alibi.
Airtight, you say?
I only just realized I had one as we were talking. Guess it would have been better for all of us if I told you sooner.
All right, here we go.
Oh my gosh, now what?
Portsman's alibi.
If memory serves, you came back to this office around 2 a.m., correct? And it was then that you had that unfortunate confrontation at gunpoint with the culprit. But at exactly that time, I was down in criminal affairs. Why? Ask around. I'm sure the other detectives will corroborate my story. It's the perfect alibi.
Do you really think it's that perfect?
Like I said, I don't care. Ask around all you like. You'll see for yourself.
Detective Gumshoe.
Sir, yes, sir. I'll go check out his alibi, sir. Be right back.
Here we go.
Oh, no. Mr. Edgeworth, sir, I think we're in trouble. It's just like Mr. Portsman said. The guys down in criminal affairs said they saw him at around 2 a.m. You see?
All of the evidence points to him being the culprit. So there must be a contradictory point in his alibi somewhere.
All right, we'll get there.
All right, here we go. Portsman's alibi.
If memory serves, you came back to this office at around 2 a.m., correct? It was then that you had that unfortunate confrontation at gunpoint with the culprit. But at exactly that time, I was down in criminal affairs. What the hell was he doing down there?
Hold it. So you paid the criminal affairs department a visit.
Yep, right after I left the prosecutor's building, I headed straight for the precinct. Ask around. I'm sure the other detectives will corroborate my story. It's the perfect alibi.
Hold it. Well, we did go and ask around to confirm your testimony.
And it was just as I said, right? Yes, sir. A number of detectives said that they saw you at around that time. See, I have the perfect alibi. That's the ace I had up my sleeve.
Portsman's alibi may seem perfect at first glance, but I know there's a hole in it somewhere. All I need to do is press it a little and see what comes of it.
And I grill him like a hamburger. If memory serves, you came back to this office at around 2 a.m., correct?
Hold it!
You are correct. It was around 2 a.m.
Are you sure? It's really important to me that you're spot on with the time.
I remember checking my watch then, and make no mistake, it was 2.
Ooh, giving testimony like a pro. Okay, so you came back to your office at 2. And it was then that you had that unfortunate confrontation at gunpoint with the culprit.
Hold it. It is as you say. However...
Yes, however, you are the only one who claims to have bumped into the culprit. So tell me, did you see the person's face? Was it me who you saw?
It was pitch black, so I couldn't actually see.
Objection!
Objection! Oh, come now. I'm sure you saw something. Try a little harder, why don't you?
I'm beginning to feel like I'm the one being interrogated here.
Oh, well, it doesn't matter if you remember or not. It only matters that you ran into the culprit.
Impossible! He actually does have the perfect alibi.
What's wrong? Why the sudden sullen look on your face? Can't you say anything back, Mr. Edgeworth? Think we've all reached the end of the line and it's time to get off this crazy train. You there!
Sir!
Please escort the young lady out, but remember, be gentle. Maggey!
Detective Gumshoe!
Is there nothing I can do? There must be a way to turn this situation around. If I only had a clue. Did I miss something that can help me cast doubt on his alibi? I need to calmly think this through one more time, and with logic.
Here we go. The culprit rearranged my files twice, once before and once after the murder. Why?
Mr. Portsmouth's alibi.
The intruder I met could not have been Portsmouth. Then who could it have been?
No, actually, no. The first clue is Mr. Portsmouth's alibi. The second one was another handgun.
Ha! There were 2 bullets left at the scene of the crime. One that robbed Mr. Faith of his life, and one that nearly robbed me of my jacket. However, the murder weapon only shows signs of being fired once, meaning that it is entirely possible that a second gun was used in my office tonight. But seeing as how the killer had to steal Mr. Faith's gun, I doubt the killer had another gun up their sleeve. Therefore, the second gun could have been the property of an entirely different person, which could mean that there was another person who paid a visit to my office tonight. How's this ring? Supposing there was yet another visitor tonight, that would also resolve the issue of why my shelves were upended twice. We know that the shelves were disturbed once before and once after the murder, so it shouldn't be much of a stretch to think that it was the work of 2 different people. Once by the person who stole the victim's gun and then killed him with it, and once again after the murder by our second culprit, who was the owner of the second gun. If we suppose that the second culprit's gun was the one that was pointed at my back... Objection! Mr. Portsman, it seems that I need to amend my assumptions regarding this case.
Great, so you finally come to your senses.
Mr. Edgeworth!
Sir, what are you saying?
This has been a big misunderstanding on my part from the start. I had assumed that the person I ran into was the killer, but that may not be the case.
What do you mean?
The person I ran into was just your average thief.
A thief? But sir, doesn't that cause some sort of contradiction in the facts? Well, even the pre-swing of the objection point, yep.
Not at all. It simply means that the killer was someone else. And it means that in actuality, 2 culprits stole into my office tonight.
But what do you mean, two?
It explains both why my shelves were disturbed twice and how there were 2 guns. Mr. Portsman tricked Ms. Byrde and gained entry into my office.
Objection! Now you're just leading the argument. You still don't have any actual proof, you know.
If you could please go along with my hypothetical scenario for now, Mr. Portsman. In the end, if you really are innocent, you should have nothing to worry about. Now then, returning to my scenario, Mr. Portsman was out to steal something from me, which is why he checked my secret safe and ransacked my shelves. This is the first time.
So then, this would be when the files were put back in the wrong order, right?
Correct. And then, just when he was about to look somewhere else, who should walk in but his own partner, Mr. Faith?
Why did Mr. Faith come into your room, sir?
He probably had business with Mr. Portsman, which is why he was in the area. But that's when he noticed sounds coming from my office, would be my guess.
Oh, because you were supposed to be away, right?
And he must have thought it was odd, so he came into this office to check it out.
Correct. And as a detective, that was the right thing to do.
But when he came in, he found his own partner standing there.
Because it was Mr. Portsman, Mr. Faith probably let his guard down. But Mr. Portsman was not so merciful as to let him leave alive. He waited for a chance and stole Mr. Faith's gun from him. And then he killed him. He silenced Mr. Faith. He silenced Mr. Faith for catching him in the act of stealing. This was the moment in which the first shot was fired, the one that landed in my files. Following that, Mr. Portsman wiped the gun down and left it behind as he made his exit. He could afford to do that because he had also left the fake dying message behind.
You're such a complicated troublemaker, you know that?
Well, if things were as simple as that, then all would be solved. However, there was yet another visitor to my room, and this is where it gets complicated.
There was another? Visitor, sir?
Yes, and this other person's objective was also to steal something from me. Now then, even after Mr. Portsman left, the door to my office remained unlocked. However, this new visitor had no way of knowing that, and so they stole the master key from the security guard's room, and then entered my room and searched through my shelves. This was the second time they were disturbed, and it seems a thief found their prize.
The stolen zero file, right, sir?
Correct. Only just as the thief was about to leave with the file, I appeared. The thief then threatened me with their own gun and made their escape. The second bullet was fired during that brief encounter.
So the shelves getting messed up twice, and the 2 bullets, it was all because 2 different people were doing those things at 2 different times.
Precisely. So now do you see, Mr. Portsman? The person I met was just a thief, and was not, in fact, Mr. Faith's killer. Your alibi for the time frame in which I ran into the other person is now irrelevant. Because we now know that the murder took place during the first culprit's visit.
Objection! What's so funny, pal? Absolutely splendid. Your scenario explains everything. Of course it does. It's Mr. Edgeworth, after all. But you know, still doesn't change the fact that it's all circumstantial. Supposing if, and that's big if, your theory is right, it would indeed render my alibi, which has withstood scrutiny, mind you, irrelevant. But there is still one defining point of your argument for which you have no evidence. Your supposition that I was the first visitor. Mr. Edgeworth, you can't let him get away with that, sir.
But he has a point. I have absolutely no proof at this point.
Don't say that, sir.
I don't believe this. Don't worry, Maggie. I'll do something if I must. You know something? I find your attitude to be somewhat peculiar, Mr. Edgeworth. The person you met really was just a plain old thief. Why is that person not your main suspect? That is, if your theory is correct.
All right, here we go. Postman's alibi, part 2.
That thief you ran into should be a real suspect, wouldn't you say? We should be out there looking for that thief right now. They might still be nearby. I hate to repeat myself, but as I've already said, I was training in my room. When Jim came to deliver some evidence to me, I was down at criminal affairs.
Oh.
So I can't be expected to know what happened around here after I left.
Uh-huh. So you think we should be out there looking for the thief?
Of course. Now isn't the time to be having these dead-end discussions.
I don't think it's at all dead-ended. I find your alibi to be fascinating. Let's continue where we left off, shall we?
I know he's lying. I know he was here at the scene of the crime. I just have to find a way to prove it.
Oh yeah,
We can get there.
I know exactly where to go. Time for rebuttal.
That thief you ran into should be a real suspect, wouldn't you say? We should be out there looking for that thief right now. They might still be nearby. I hate to repeat myself, but as I've already said, I was training in my room. When Jim came to deliver some evidence to me, I was down at criminal affairs.
What evidence? Hold it! Why didn't you go there with Mr. Faith?
That's because he said he was tired and was going to take a quick nap. You know those sofas in the hallway? He likes to sleep on those. It's one of his habits.
And what of the evidence he brought?
They were things related to yesterday's case. Just 2 items. A gun and a pendant.
Wah, wah.
Interesting. This piece of testimony seems too crucial to let slip through the cracks.
He brought me 2 items, a gun and a pendant, that are related to yesterday's case.
Well, how does he know about... Wait a minute. How does he know about 3 of them? Objection! Only 2 pieces? I believe the proper phrase here is, you fail.
Excuse me?
You fail as a prosecutor, Mr. Portsman, as you intend to keep evidence hidden from me.
What are you talking about? I haven't hidden anything from you.
Well, here's a piece I think you should read. Carefully.
It says that Mr. Faith was bringing 3 pieces.
Yes, and this is the victim's real dying message to you, Mr. Portsman.
Hey, I can't believe you get tripped up by simple arithmetic.
Where is the missing piece of evidence? You have it, don't you? Only the guilty would make such a face. Detective Gumshoe.
You don't have to say it, sir. I'll pat the guy down from head to toe. Whoa, don't come any closer. I'm warning you. This is all part of the investigation, pal. So don't even think about stopping me. No! Hey, what's this? He had this on him, sir. A videotape.
Despite what you said, it would appear that you do have something to hide.
Why would he hide something like that?
There's only one reason why anyone would hide evidence of this caliber, because it would unequivocally point to that person himself as the real killer. Let's examine this videotape in a little more detail. For this section of the tape that will drive the last nail into his coffin.
The KG-8.
There's blood on the tape!
That's blood, isn't it?
Yes, and I believe this is what the good prosecutor was trying to hide from us. This blood is still fresh.
You mean this might be Detective Faith's blood? No! You got it all wrong!
No amount of denial can save you. We have but to run a blood test to find the truth.
Well, sweating too much for the sweatband to cover up anymore.
Yep. You told us that you had received evidence from the victim earlier. Now you will tell us when and how did the victim's blood find its way onto this video?
Yeah, it's totally suspicious.
Was it at the moment of his death? Did Detective Faith have this videotape on his personage when you killed him?
You know very well there's no way to prove that.
Not even if we were to examine this tape for fingerprints?
Nah!
If I had to take a guess, I'd say that the only ones on here would belong to the murderous you and Mr. Faith.
No! Impossible!
Jacques Portsman, you're under arrest. March 14th, 5:47 a.m. High Prosecutor's Offices, room 1202.
Mr. Portsman has been placed under arrest for the murder of Detective Buddy Faith, sir.
Very good.
And the results we got back from the lab techs on the tape turned out to be real solid, sir. The blood work came back and it was definitely Mr. Faith's blood on there. And as a bonus, they were also able to lift a few of Mr. Faith's fingerprints as well.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Edgeworth. I still can't believe I got to see your cool deduction skills outside the courtroom.
I'm impressed beyond
words, sir.
Dang, heard of chocolate coins, but I've never seen chocolate medals before. It was nothing. I'm just sorry you got caught up in a murder in my office. Please accept my apologies.
Oh, it was nothing. Really. Compared to what I've been through, I mean. I consider myself lucky that it was only a burglary and a murder this time, sir. If it had been a holdup or a hostage situation, I'd have thrown my hands up in the air. I think I'm finally rising up from a goddess of misfortune to just an unlucky person.
Something tells me we should have hired a different person for security detail.
You know something, sir? That Mr. Portsman really was one corrupt prosecutor.
And why would you say he was corrupt?
Well, I heard that there were a number of suspicious things related to his court cases. There's even rumors about how some of the evidence he uses is forged, sir.
Forged evidence, huh?
And they say he even decided not to prosecute a few cases for some really vague reasons.
Ooh, that guy was a complete disgrace to the entire profession.
We never did get around to asking what his reason was for breaking into my office.
Yeah, whenever we got near that topic, he just clammed up.
Although, we can be pretty certain that it was to steal something.
This is just between you and me, sir. But there's a rumor that some sort of huge organization is involved behind the scenes.
Oh, well. With Mr. Portsman not willing to divulge anything, it certainly leads credence to that rumor. It would seem that we haven't heard the last of this.
Huh? And Mr. Portsman isn't the bad guy?
I didn't say that, but rather that there are still many more mysteries for us to solve. For example, we still haven't figured out the significance to this piece of evidence.
Take that!
The person who stole this file, the other villain of the night.
Yeah, I wonder who it was.
And what happened to the stolen pages?
What indeed?
I wonder, who in the world was it that held me up at gunpoint?
Mr. Edgeworth, sir.
Yes?
I came across this when I was processing your office earlier, sir.
This card.
The hell? What is it, sir? Is that a bird or something on there?
It's not just any bird. It's the mark of the raven. A three-legged raven. Even you should know what this is, Detective.
Oh, it's about that thing, isn't it? That great thief everyone's talking about?
Yes, it is the mark of the great thief, Yatagarasu.
Huh? Say that 3 times fast.
Under the mark of a legendary bird, the Yatagarasu is noble to the end, a modern Robin Hood. Labeled mysterious and phantom-like, the Yatagarasu appears and vanishes at will. Though we don't know much about this thief's ultimate goal, we do know the targets. The Yatagarasu likes to find and make public evidence of corrupt dealings of all sorts. The theft is always performed in silence and always with perfection. Once a target is chosen, no dramatic calling card or announcement is sent forth. Instead, the chosen corporation is infiltrated without even the target noticing. Some days later, the evidence that was found is sent out to the mass media, along with this single card. Although, it has been a while since the Yatagarasu's last appearance.
Hey, Mr. Edgeworth. Look, something's written on the back.
What? Let me see.
That's the location of where the thief put the stolen files.
What?
So the person who stole the contents of the file was the Yatagarasu?
What the shit?
Yatagarasu. Organization. Quite a few key words are popping up in this mystery. The murder in my office. The return of the great thief Yatagarasu. Looking back, I can't say I didn't see these events coming. For they were heralded by the incidents that began to occur 2 days ago.
What incidents?
The end.
Well, that's perfect. This is absolutely perfect.
Yep, that's the end of this case. We're gonna go ahead and save my progress. Already see the slide? You gotcha. Okay. Save complete. We're gonna go back and we are going to skedaddle. We're here at this next. Okay, so we're gonna get out of here and we're going to go to intermission. So, folks, thank you so much for sticking around with us. Hold on a second. Okay. So, thank you so much for sticking around to watch this game with us. Very special thank you to Pete Double D 2 Sweet for sticking around with us, and Vu Vuong, our newest YouTube subscriber, for subscribing and listening to our channel. And folks, we are still 1 follower away from the notorious 100 followers on Twitch. So, next time I stream, what are you waiting for? Head over to Twitch, smash that follow button, and see what we have in store for you.
So, and we'll configure our schedule. Please keep tuned on our Facebook page for more updates, as you can find out when we'll be able to share our content with all of you. So, until next time, kids, I'm the Cannonball Alex Steele.
I am the package Andrew Steele.
We are the Steele Brothers,
And we are for real. Top guys out. Ciao. Adios, muchacho.